Hello and welcome to another opposition preview here on the Last Word on Spurs. It's Nottingham Forest up for Tottenham this weekend, of course, at the City Ground. Forest have not stopped making signings even as I speak to you right now. So delighted to be joined by Greg from the Garibaldi podcast. Greg, thank you so much for giving us your time on Last Word on Spurs. How are you first? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm good. Another win for Forest in the League Cup last night. So still on a high, so it's good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're recording here, just to be clear, and we're recording on the Wednesday. So again, this is slightly before, obviously, any of the pre-match press conferences will take place from Steve Cooper and from, of course, Antonio Conte. Although I'm not sure, Greg, you'll be able to tell us whether we had a preview already from Steve Cooper last night for the Spurs game, or if that's being delayed to later in the week, which I think, bearing in mind, normally Conte is on normally Friday. Steve Cooper spoken yet about Spurs, or is it too early in the week for that?
It's too early. We're playing Sunday, aren't we? So it'll be Friday for Cooper.
Okay, interesting. I mean, from your perspective, going to ask you, Greg, it's been a busy summer from Forest in terms of the transfer market. But before we delve into that aspect of all things Forest, what have you made of your start overall to the season?
It's been good. I mean, Newcastle was a baptism of fire. That showed us what the Premier League was about, the speed of it. None of us fans were used to it. And, you know, we lost 2-0 and it could have been a few more. But since then, I think we've been very quick learners, and we had a great win against West Ham. Don't know how good they are, but it was still a brilliant win, and we arguably should have won against Everton. We got a point on the road, so can't be happier at the minute, really.
And generally, when you look at the window itself, I mean, like I say, I think everyone's eyes have been almost attentive to Forest because of how busy they've been. I mean, you'll tell us what number we're up to now, Greg, because I've actually lost count of Forest's summer signings. Where are we now in terms of the numbers so far? Because by the time this actually goes out to our listeners on audio, I'm sure that will probably have changed.
We're 16, I think, but we might as well add a couple just if it is going to be a couple of days. But yeah, it's the busiest transfer window we've ever had, but it needed to happen. There's method in it. It's not just throw everything at it. There's method in every signing. I really trust the process at the minute.
And generally, I mean, I say 16 so far. By the time this actually goes out to listeners on audio, it's probably 18, 19, maybe even 20. Who knows? A couple of Spurs boys might also be in there. Bearing in mind, we've seen some links this week to Japhet Tanganga and to Sergio Reguilon. Overall, you said it was needed. I mean, just to give maybe our viewers and listeners an idea, what were Forest like in terms of before this summer business took place? How many players did you have, which obviously then needed to have this almost overhaul? And you would say, yeah, I mean, a rebuild of the squad that we've seen this summer.
Well, we had 5 loanees that arguably helped. Well, they did. They got us promoted. They were fantastic. You know, Jed Spence, who's signed for you guys now. We had some quality that we got off the Premier League last season, which got us up. So they all needed replacing straight away. We had 3 or 4 players that were out of contract that weren't going to be renewed because obviously Premier League, you know, not perfectly up to it. So we had to get at least 11 players just to stick with what we had last year. Then there's the 5 subs, which we weren't used to, so 9 on your bench. It had to happen. You know, the way we went up last year, I don't think truthfully anyone was prepared for it. You know, we rocketed up that league and it shocked us all. So, I mean, the owner, we can't fault what he's done. He's put every single penny of this money you get for promotion into the squad, and he's trying to show that, you know, we're not just here to try and survive and try and stay up. We want to be here for many, many years.
And in terms of the summer signings made so far, Greg, who are, in your opinion, the ones to watch ahead of this weekend?
If he's not injured, because he did get a knock, I've been most impressed with Mangala. He's been absolutely superb. Signed him from Stuttgart. We've got Morgan Gibbs-White, who only came on for a few minutes. So happy to get him because he was Cooper's man. He always has been. And it just proves, you know, there's been a few murmurs. It proves that Steve Cooper is right behind these signings. Lingard's not necessarily, you know, shown what he's about. Yeah, he could be the one. Nico Williams has been fantastic as well. I'm really excited about him. But, you know, Spurs and then Man City, this is the big test. This is going to show exactly where we are and how much more we've got to do, I think.
And just in regards to Steve Cooper, I think many from the outside have watched him, and I think I've been really impressed by the way that he's navigated Forest from, I think you can tell me here yourself, I think they were towards the bottom of the Championship, and then have got you into a position where reaching the playoffs getting through the playoffs, getting into the Premier League. Just what kind of job, in your opinion, has Steve Cooper done for Forest overall?
Well, when Chris Hughton was sacked, we'd played 7. We'd not won a game. I think we got 1 point. We were absolutely dire. We were going down to League One. He got fired. I think Stephen Reid took charge of a game and we won. And then Steve Cooper came in and just everything changed. It's just the most incredible season I've ever followed Forest. We were just relentless. And he's such a decent person as well. He's one of those guys who cares about his players. You know, he's wanted these players, that some of them that we've signed this season, because he's coached them in the under-17s when he was England manager. And, you know, he really does care about the lads and the supporters as well. He treats us correctly. He's honest to us, and he's just a really likeable but very, very astute and very good manager.
I think that's a really interesting point you make there from your perspective, Greg, that, you know, a lot of these players, people are seeing 16, 17 signings come in, maybe 18, 19 by the time this goes out. And, you know, is there a method to that? And like you said, there's a number of those players that Cooper is already acutely aware of, some that he's worked with, some obviously he's got a brief on. So it isn't just signing for the sake of signing. There's obviously a purpose behind each of those signings where he actually sees a blueprint as to how they're going to affect Forest in terms of moving forward for the season, right?
Yeah. The majority of these signings are under the age of 26. The majority have got potential more than they have coming in, you know, for their final big payday, which is what we notoriously used to do in the past. So a lot of these players are going to have a good sell on money when it does come, and it's the potential I'm excited about. And you know, we're under no illusions. We're not going to be rocking it up the Premier League like we did the Championship, but I do think we're going to be a team that really does give a fight, and a team, especially at home, that really does go for it.
And ahead of this weekend, of course, playing Spurs, just want to get your thoughts on a Spurs perspective from an opposition view, in terms of what you've made so far as Spurs' start and who you feel are the danger men ahead of this weekend's game.
I've always loved Son. I think he's such a quality player. And I think when you look at the league now, the way that Liverpool have started so slowly, you know, a lot of these teams have started slowly. It was a massive chance for Spurs to really go for that top 2, isn't it? And, you know, it's that bad timing for us because I think you're on a bounce and your rivals are right up there as well. So you're going to want to win these games more than anyone. But I really do think you're going to be one of those teams fighting up there this season, obviously.
And in terms of Forest and the City Ground, I mean, I said this to obviously your colleague as well, that, you know, for me, that's going to need to be a real fortress for Forest in order to, like I say, really achieve good results at home, to stay in the league and then to really push on. Give us a feeling what that's going to be like on Sunday for Spurs' players going up at Forest. I know as an away supporter, I've been there in the past, it can be quite an intimidating venue when that place is rocking. We saw it last season in the FA Cup as well. Give us a view from your perspective how that will be for some of the Spurs players.
Well, we've limited the away. You used to get 4,500 for years. You used to get that entire Lower Bridgeford, but now we get a third of that, and it makes such a difference for the atmosphere. So it is a fortress. You know, we had some big FA Cup games last season, and we proved we could battle against them. We've already beat West Ham, but like I say, you know, Spurs is a different kettle of fish. So the fans are as important on Sunday as they ever have been, and if we can just get, you know, keep it tight for the first half an hour and catch you on the break, you just never know. We're a confident side at the minute, and we're used to winning, so it's a nice feeling. Don't want it to end.
Yeah, and again, amongst, like I say, we've discussed Forest's maybe players to watch out for in terms of the weekend. Obviously, you've referenced quite a number of the signings that you've made. Give us your idea of how you see the team setting up, Greg, which is probably a hard thing to do given the amount of signings you've made. Is it just a case of a pick and mix at the moment? Is it hard to really understand at this stage who Spurs are going to be up against, really? Yeah,
just press shuffle and see what happens. But no, we'll have 3 central defenders. We already have had a few niggles and injuries, so you might see some new players come in that side, and then a couple of quick wing backs. I think that's where Nico Williams comes in. He's so special and so helpful for Brennan Johnson up top. And then midfield, Lingard will start again. You know, I think he will put in that performance soon. He's shown he can do it, but he has been a little bit quiet, but he's also shown little bits. Like I say, Morgan Gibbs-White, I just love it. We had 10 minutes of seeing what he's about, and the whole crowd was like excited and ready for more. And then some of the players that played last night, we've got, I still can't pronounce all the names, Freuler. He's from Atalanta. He played like over 200 games for them. I think he captained them. They called him the conductor. He's an exciting player. Whether he's ready to start on Sunday, I'm not quite sure. But the thing I like about the team for Sunday compared to the very first team against Newcastle, our bench against Newcastle looked like the bench from last season. You know, we had players that weren't necessarily in our starting 11 on that bench. I think that's our most promising thing so far, is the bench is so much stronger already. We've really got a bench that most of them could start and you wouldn't batter an eyelid, really.
It's going to be really interesting to see how, obviously, Forest line up at the weekend, given, if I keep on saying, the amount of signings they've made. Let's get a prediction from you, Greg. Big game Sunday, an opportunity for Spurs, of course, to really cement their place towards the top of the league. For Forest, it's a continual building process for them in the league. What are you going to go for the weekend, Greg?
Oh, it's like a weird derby for me. I grew up in a village south of Notts that a load of my friends were Spurs fans. The family came up from London, and such a big family. It was like half the village was Spurs. So I just love a result. Give me a point now and I'll snap your hand off straight away.
Okay, not greedy. You'll take a point. Greg, been a pleasure having you on Last Word on Spurs. Where can everybody find the wonderful podcast that you provide?
Garibaldi Red Podcast. It's on YouTube. It's on all platforms, really, and follow it on Twitter. So cheers for that.
Fantastic. Well, guys, listen, thank you so much as always. Greg, thank you for your time. If you're listening on audio, like I say, that is part of this Forest preview. We're going to be back after this break. Greg, thank you so much for your time. And as always, come on, you Spurs.